Joining me now from Camden Yards is Meredith Marakovits for our latest edition of Runs, Hits, and Errors. And our first topic, Meredith, has to deal with Vidal Nuno. And, you know, it's a great thing. He was a starter down with Scranton, but it's a great thing now that he's out there in that bullpen, sitting next to a guy that has a very short memory, which is what he needs after last night's one pitch against Nate McLouth. That's Mariano Rivera. When he goes out there, he has a rough outing, which he hasn't had this year, by the way. He knows you have to just put it in the past. So sitting next to him out there in that bullpen will probably do nothing but help Nuno go forward.
You have to believe that to be true for not only Vidal Nuno, but any pitcher out there in that bullpen, being able to look up to Mariano Rivera, kind of pick his brain a little bit as to how he prepares and how he goes about his business. And who better to take some advice from the all-time saves leader? Not anybody that's done it better than him. So they'd be pretty foolish not to take that advice. But, you know, Vidal Nuno said after the game last night, look, I made a bad pitch. It's going to happen. Now I have to shake it off. And luckily he's going to have the opportunity to do so, not out of the bullpen, but as a member of the starting rotation. The Yankees announced who would start against the Tampa Bay Rays, and he will get the nod on Saturday. So take a look there. David Phelps going Friday night, Nuno on Saturday, CC Sabathia with an extra day's rest will get the nod on Sunday. And David Robertson said after the game, he was asked, can you feel for a guy like Nuno a little bit? And he said, yeah, you know what, I could. It's happened to me before. It's happened to everybody. It won't be the first time and it won't be the last time. You just never want to be that guy that loses the game. But the biggest thing is, Chris, as you mentioned, just shaking it off and looking forward to your next outing. And you look at it, he hadn't pitched since the 15th, so it had been quite some time. He had been trying to do his work on the side, and that's a tough spot for a rookie to come in. Joe Girardi deciding to go with him because of the amount of lefties that were coming up for the Orioles last night just didn't work out in his favor.
So Nuno will join the rotation. He'll pitch in Tampa, as we just saw. Hiroki Kuroda has been pretty much a staple in the Yankees rotation the past 2 years. In fact, last year, CC Sabathia called Kuroda the ace, and you could arguably do that again this year so far, Meredith.
He's been so consistent. It wouldn't be far-fetched at all to call him the most consistent pitcher for the Yankees so far this season. It seems like every time he goes out there, even if he doesn't have his best stuff, he finds a way to give them some innings and get them to the bullpen, to the back end of the bullpen in the 6th or the 7th. And you know what I really like about Kuroda is the fact that he'll go out there. I think it was 2 outings ago. He went 7 2/3 and gave up 2 earned runs against Kansas City. He said after the game, I just wasn't very good out there. I know I can do better. So he is a guy that is constantly looking for perfection. He expects the most out of himself, and when he doesn't pitch as well as he thinks he could or up to his capabilities, in his mind he'll be the first one to tell you that he feels as though he let down his teammates. So there have been very few games that he didn't put the Yankees in a position to win in so far this season. You look at his numbers, he has an ERA just under 2, has had a tremendous amount of success, and he's coming off an outing where he went 8 strong innings. So the Yankees are hoping that they get that type of performance this evening. And Chris, pretty interesting, this will be his first ever start here at Camden Yards.
Well, we'll see how it works out for him tonight. Now, off in the distance, I just heard a bugle. The cavalry might be on the way, Meredith. Give us an update on some injured Yankees that are rehabbing down in Tampa.
Chris, they're making progress slowly but surely. They are coming along. The news today was Kevin Youkilis took 6 at-bats in a simulated game. Mark Teixeira continues to hit 6 at-bats in a simulated game. And although they're still playing in simulated games, it's a good sign for Teixeira in particular that he continues to go out there day after day after day, and he doesn't have any setbacks, doesn't have any soreness in that wrist. Also, Jabba Chamberlain threw earlier today, threw an inning in extended spring, 13 pitches there. Joe Girardi said that he felt good. Andy Pettit was walking around the clubhouse today. He's scheduled to play catch tomorrow. He'll remain with the team. Still no timetable there. Also, Eduardo Nunez took some grounders, also took BP for the first time. So guys are moving along, maybe not at the pace as some Yankees fans or even Joe Girardi would like them to, but they're coming around down there in Tampa.
Positivity. I love it, Meredith. All positive news coming down there out of Tampa. Now, let's continue with the positive here. Name that stance. You are 1 for 1 this year. Now, we're going to have you go again here. It's some pressure to keep your record pristine.
Pressure is on here, Chris.
Here are the 3 clues for you. I am one of 3 major leaguers to come out of Hofstra University. The last 2 home runs of my career were grand slams, and I had more hits off Dennis Eckersley than any other pitcher. Now, in the little shadow here, I don't know if you could see it, but he did wear his hat underneath his helmet, and I don't see an ear flap on that helmet. So those are some extra clues for you there, and you could tweet it during the break, and we'll see if you go 2 for 2 and keep batting 1,000. Do you have any?
I'm feeling pretty good about this one. I think he's a friend and a colleague of mine. Am I close? Am I correct, you think?
I think you're going to keep batting 1,000 here, Meredith. No worries. But I'm just going to check Twitter just to make sure in the break, just to see what you tweeted out. Hashtag BPTV, name that stance, by the way. All right, one more thing before we let you go. Just a quick preview of the pregame with you, Bob and Jack. What do you have for us?
Well, Chris, we'll talk the latest about the outfield situation, who's in and who's out for this evening. Also, Travis Hafner been swinging the bat extremely well since coming back from that shoulder injury. We'll talk a little bit about pitching as well as much, much more coming up on the pregame show.
Meredith, always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Enjoy the game, and we'll see you on the pregame in just a bit.
Will do. I'll talk to you later, Chris.